So, hey everybody, welcome to today's session. Hope your Mac's off to a great start and you enjoyed the keynote and your first session. Today we are gathered together for the next 50 minutes or so for Ask the Experts with the Exchange support team. We have just a few quick slides to jump through for housekeeping. We'll get through these just as fast as we can. And then we'll start opening up the floor for questions. First, your host, Nasir Ali and Nino Bilic, would you gentlemen mind giving a real quick intro?
Sure. My name is Nasir Ali. I'm a principal escalation engineer on the Exchange side, on premises and EXO.
Nino Bilic, Exchange supportability manager for Exchange Server. I've been with support organization for Exchange for about 20 years now.
Awesome. And thank you both. And me, Mike Brown, I've been at Microsoft. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been here for about 22 years, nearly all of them in some flavor of the messaging space. I currently work in deployment services, help ensure CSS and field readiness for new features around messaging. Moving on to our subject matter experts, our SMEs. If you guys would all come off mute real quick with a quick intro in your specialty area.
Hi, everyone. Great being here. My name is Alex Hudish. I'm a supportability program manager focusing on Microsoft Defender for Office 365. I've been with Microsoft for 10 years, and I'm based in Winnipeg, Canada.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amir Haq, and I'm also a supportability program manager for Exchange and Outlook. Been at Microsoft for 20 years, and I'm located in Dallas, Texas.
Hi, everyone. My name is Arindam. I'm a supportability program manager at Microsoft, and my focus areas are mail flow and transport.
Hello, Mick. My name is Balchandra. I'm working with Microsoft and Exchange support for close to 18 years now, and currently focused on supportability issues of Microsoft 365 and Exchange on-premises, especially focusing on Microsoft 365 groups, public folders, and Exchange on-premises.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cameron Lathrop. I've been with Microsoft for 23 years, similar to Mike, all of that in some flavor of messaging support. Currently, I am a beta engineer with our security and compliance group. My focus areas are e-discovery and data lifecycle management.
Hi, I am David Paulson. I am an escalation engineer inside of CSS Exchange. Been with Exchange now for over 10 years, I think now, and with Microsoft for just over 9. I'm based in Fargo, North Dakota.
My name's Gabe Breton. I'm supportability PM for Outlook Desktop. I'm based out of Las Colinas. That's near Dallas, Texas. And I've been at Microsoft for 24 years. I've worked in different areas, probably 10 or so years on Outlook.
Hi, everyone. My name is Linda Harrell. I'm a supportability PM. I focus on compliance and IP features, and I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hey, everybody. I'm Lucas. I'm a cloud solution architect at Microsoft. I'm working with Exchange since more than 10 years, and I'm at Microsoft since 2016. And I'm based in Cologne, Germany.
Howdy, Mac. My name is Rob Whaley. I'm based here in Dallas, Texas. I am a beta engineer and I've been at Microsoft for over 11 years. And I cover areas in Exchange Server, Exchange Online, and compliance, especially around data lifecycle management.
Awesome. Thank you. Over a couple hundred years of overall experience here. Wow, thanks, folks. So some quick rules of the road here. We want to be able to cover as many questions as possible today. There's a few things we'd like to try to avoid just for sake of all the others on the call. First, we can't really follow up on your existing support tickets during this call. Second, no error messages or event logs or anything that are specific to your business that you need us to solve. We're unfortunately going to have to ask you to open a support ticket for those. Next, we probably can't learn your environment and plan your migration in this session. And finally, if something's going to take too long to discuss, maybe limit opportunity for others, or maybe we just don't know, we'll likely table those and come back to you after the call. Next, how to engage during today's call. We have two different options for how to engage today. First, we definitely want conversation. If you want to ask a question verbally, just use the raise your hand feature in Teams, and we'll take those in order. You do have the ability to come off mute on your own in this call, just FYI. Second, as you saw, we do have quite a few SMEs helping us out on this call, and we can handle more questions in the next 45 minutes if we do some of those in chat. So if you do have a question you'd like to put in the chat, please just go right ahead. If you see that one of us has liked your question, that means that we're acknowledging you and are working on a response, and we'll reply soon. Next, just a quick highlight of the schedules for today and tomorrow. As you can see, there are several Ask the Expert sessions coming up, which we've marked here, that should give you some other opportunities to engage with us in this type of format. So we have them both for today, Tuesday, and also some for Wednesday as well. So with all those things said, thanks everybody for coming today, and let's jump in. What questions do you have?
There's a couple of questions on the chat.
I hope these are going to come quick, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wants to come off mute and ask, that would be awesome. That way we're not, y'all aren't just watching us all type. Or if you prefer, maybe we can kind of take some of these verbally if nobody wants to come off mute and ask. Oh, I see Scott, you've got your hand up.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Oh, great. Hi, how are you? Question, we're currently in an Exchange 2016 hybrid deployment. We haven't moved any production mailboxes up yet. We're just moved some test mailboxes up there. Once we start moving production mailboxes, it'll probably be a slow process. I'm guessing at least 2 years we'll be in a hybrid, maybe longer. As 2016 is supported until 2025, should we wait before upgrading our on-prem to 2019 as the next version may even be out then?
So I can answer some of the concerns that you have, right? First of all, that 2016 is in extended support. So it is supported for another 2 years, but it is in the extended support area. Second is that I will highly encourage you to look to watch the keynote address by Perry. He actually answers some of the questions that you have put in there regarding in terms of 2016 and 2019 and what we should be doing. Ideally, and our recommendation is that to go to 2019 as soon as you can, because this is what we are working on actively, and this is something that will be provide you a pathway to the vNext. Nino may have some additional information that you'd like to add.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I just wanted to add our absolute recommendation is for customers who are staying on premises to go to Exchange 2019. We have said that we are planning this in a way that we don't want to make you do yet another migration between 2019 and whatever comes after, whatever it's going to be called. So, in other words, we don't think that you should wait. You should go to 2019 right now. There's additional goodness that's coming to Exchange 2019, like basic authentication on premises only, and a variety of other things that we have announced already, investments that are coming for 2019. So basically, our suggestion is do not wait. Go to 2019 today and then be ready. Once the next version of Exchange on premises comes, you're going to be able to just install it on the same server where you have 2019.
Thank you. That does make sense. I guess my thinking was because if we upgrade now, it'll be such a large investment in new equipment. My thinking was we'll wait 2 years. If we get half the company migrated, if we upgrade then it would be less investment in hardware at that point. What are your
I
thoughts on
see.
that?
I mean, ultimately, it is a call that you need to make. You know your business best. As far as where we would like our customers to be, we would want them to go to 2019 now. I mean, or as soon as possible. Obviously, there is time still. But I mean, if you are kind of offboarding a set of users during that time, then perhaps that there are particular servers which are running databases which have those users, so you can keep them running on current hardware, but you should start for the users that you expect are going to stay on premises, and for workloads that are going to stay on premises, go ahead and move to 2019. Don't wait for them.
Great, thank you.
Who's next? Bruce, I see you've still got your hand up.
Yeah, I posted in the chat, so I'll delete this if you guys are able to answer.
Okay.
We're planning on moving some high volume sending mailboxes up to EXO. Got just a few shared mailboxes left on premise. And I was trying to do the work ahead of time to figure out what sources are count against the daily limits of 10,000 recipients. Like if we're sending from an anonymous SMTP relay connection on premise from that same shared mailbox address, is that going to count against that mailbox's daily send limits, or is it strictly when it's authenticated? Thank you.
I feel like I've got this written down. Arindam, sorry to call you out, man.
Yeah.
Do you remember the details on those?
I'll respond on the chat window. Just give us some time. I'm just responding to some other.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Actually, the stuff I've got's for receiving limits. You're talking about sending limits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We'll
Yeah,
get back
that's
with
correct.
you. Yep.
Thank you.
We'll get back with you on that. Thanks. Right. Who's next? Matthew.
Hi, thank you. So what is the official word for situations where we deal with, I deal with a lot of small and medium businesses. They have an Exchange on-prem server. They've migrated everything to EXO. They have their Exchange server left over. It's just kind of sitting there. Beginning with Exchange 2019, is that when you can actually start just turning the server off and not having to have the server run? I mean, is that what the plan is, to just quote unquote remove your last Exchange server? Is just to shut it off but not uninstall it? I'm still kind of unclear about that, as to when we can get rid of the last Exchange server when you're done with the hybrid.
Okay, so I can take that one. So yes, with starting with the last CU that we shipped for Exchange Server 2019, we now allow you to run Exchange management tools and manage your recipients using PowerShell. So, I mean, we do realize that it's a limited solution at this point, but it is a solution that we could release right now without additional work with other teams may have to do, etc. Long story. So that is currently, if you want to basically shut down that last Exchange server and not actually have a box which is running Exchange services on premises, this is the way. You will need prerequisites, which are the prerequisites for Exchange Server 2019 management tools, which can be a workstation if you wish to have that. And then we tell you the guidance is do not uninstall that last Exchange server, rather shut it down. And then if you actually want to remove it after you have had it shut down for a little while and made sure everything is working as you expect, at that point, you can go ahead and run our cleanup scripts, which will remove the server objects, etc., from the Active Directory. We say do not uninstall it, because uninstallation of the last Exchange server will pull out stuff out of Active Directory, which your management tools will need. So if you actually uninstalled it, you would actually break your management tools. So that is why we say don't do that. But long story short, this is currently our suggested solution for customers who want to get rid of that last Exchange server. Hope that makes sense.
Okay, and you said the management tools can be installed on a workstation if necessary, not a server. You can actually put them on a
Correct.
workstation.
Windows 10 is currently a supported operating system for Exchange Server 2019 management tools, and we are evaluating. We are looking at adding Windows 11 as a supported operating system for management tools in our supportability matrix, which is currently still not done. So Windows 10 right now, but yes, workstation is fine.
Great, thank you very much.
All right. All right, who else has their hand up? Let me switch from chat to Todd. Mr. Nelson.
Sure. Regarding automated scripts, what's is there a guidance on how to transition those from using the old version to the new version? And is there an option, or what's the best option, API or cert-based authentication?
Are we talking about basic auth deprecation now? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, transitioning our automated scripts away from basic auth to modern auth.
Yes, so we have actually a lot of documentation on this. I will let me post it into chat right now. So if you see something coming in chat for me right now, this is, I think, what should have the answer. We have basically guidance for variety or for all of the various protocols, including remote PowerShell, and basically how to how to go about doing that, how to integrate into your scripts and tasks which are not necessarily interactive. So,
and so which is preferred from the standpoint of modern auth? Is it APIs, is it Graph, or is it CBA?
I don't actually know that we have taken a side on that. I think both of them are. You can actually use both of them. I'm not actually aware of. Nasir, do you know if we have specific recommendation on that?
Yeah, there is no specific recommendation, but if you can use Graph, I think that will be a better option because there's a lot of active work going on. I would also suggest, there is a basic authentication session by Greg Taylor. Maybe ask the question specifically over there as well to see if there is any specific recommendation. But both will work, and personally, I think Graph will be a better option if you can. Or REST, yeah.
Okay. Is CBA or Graph more secure?
I think both of
with
the,
with CBA you're issuing a self-signed certificate specifically for the user from the server that you're running those scripts on, rather than sharing, say a quote unquote password or a secret.
I think Graph will provide you a better option there, but again, I think this question probably better answered by Greg Taylor on the basic authentication piece that he presenting today or tomorrow. I think if you can attend that session, I think that will give you some good information. Yeah.
He's also got a Ask the Expert session coming up right after this one.
Right. Yeah.
Greg does.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What else? I don't see anybody else with their hand up, but there are an awful lot of questions in the chat that we're trying to get to. Anybody
Mike,
like to come off mute and ask theirs? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, there's a question by Zafar, I think, on extended protection where he's seeing some issues with connectivity.
Yeah, I've been responding to that.
Okay, responding. Okay. I mean,
Yes.
I think if Zafar and Rob, maybe if we don't solve this here, maybe open a support ticket so we exactly know the scenario with extended protection that he's having issues, and we can dig some detail or investigate it further.
Yeah, absolutely. That was going to be my suggestion here because it shows he bypassed the load balancer.
Yep.
So there's something else going on there.
Right. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Nasir.
I did have another question around extended protection too. This is Todd again. Regarding extended protection and SSL offloading for load balancers, we're going to continue getting errors because, as I understand, the recommendation is we don't need to implement, or we can't implement extended protection if we have SSL offloading set for load balancers. Am I understanding that correct? And if we have that implemented, is that something that we can just disregard, or is there a switch that we can implement in the commands that we're running?
I think, Rob, you want to take that question?
Did we have David?
Or Dave, I think Rob was testing some of the this SSS offloading with TAP customers. So he probably has some additional information. But yeah, anybody, yeah, Rob or David, if you guys have any insights.
Yeah, you're correct. If you have SSL offloading, currently you cannot enable extended protection. So if you would like that new protection, you will have to move away from SSL offloading and go to SSL bridging. SSL bridging has been tested and validated with that new protection. So you have the balance to do. If you want that additional protection, you will have to move away from offloading to SSL bridging. This is a config setting on your load balancer. So you have to change that setting to bridging, and then you can benefit from that new protection.
Yeah, because we require the secure TLS session from the load balancer to the Exchange server, because we need the channel binding token, and the channel binding token is generated by using the certificate which is installed or used on the Exchange server. And if you use SSL offloading right now, then we don't have a secure HTTPS session, and then we also don't have the certificate and the channel binding information, which we can then use to check and to make sure that the session isn't infiltrated by some man in the middle. So that's the requirement right now, why we require you to run at least SSL bridging, which means client has to connect via SSL secured session to the load balancer. And from the load balancer, we also need a TLS secured session back to the Exchange server. If this one is not TLS secured, then we can't enable extended protection right now. You will see password prompts also if you enable it. So
now, as far as we know, when you switch to SSL bridging, the additional step you have to do is install on your load balancer the same certificate than is installed on Exchange.
Right, that's correct. You have the same. You have to run the same certificate.
And then after that step, you are fully protected, and you have TLS end-to-end, and all the communications are encrypted, and then the protection is working.
Correct. You have at least to use SSL bridging, and if you use SSL bridging with the same certificate installed on the device between the client and the server, then it works with extended protection turned on. If you don't have SSL bridging and don't have the same certificate installed, then you will experience password prompts on the client.
Exactly. That's the requirement if you want to benefit from that additional protection. Yes.
Okay. Is that in the documentation that you provided under extended protection?
Yes,
Yes.
it should be there.
Yes, as far as I know, it's there.
Yeah, it's at the top. There are those two scenarios covered, the SSL bridging scenario as well as the SSL offloading scenario.
Okay, so just so I'm understanding, SSL bridging is a load balancer option.
Exactly.
And then once that's enabled, then we can go ahead and proceed with the extended protection that was previously not enabled because we were in SSL offloading. And until we do that, we just can disregard the errors that we're getting, as long as we still have SSL offloading. Correct?
Yes. The two actions you have to do to benefit from the new protection is one, install on the load balancer the same certificate as the Exchange server. And the second step is to configure your load balancer with SSL bridging. Then you have all the requirements, and the third step will be enable the extended protection.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Who's next? Mr. McBride.
Yeah, so I had a question, but I also had a comment that might help Todd as well, because we've been working through the analysis piece around the extended protection as well. We were also using SSL offloading. We had different SANs on so we had an internal certificate on the load balancer for the internal traffic. The information is all there, but it is quite complicated when you're doing offloading, because what we figured out that we need to do is we need to spend quite a lot of money sorting out new certificates, because as you quite kind of easily say, oh, you just need to install the same certificates on the load balancer as you have on the Exchange servers and so on. That's fine, except for the fact that we were using an external certificate on the external facing side, which had different SANs on it. So now if we need to use the same certificate, then we need to buy a new one that's got all of the required SANs for the internal and external. So that's an extra sort of not insignificant cost.
Yeah, in the scenario that I'm working with our customer, it's fortunately or unfortunately, they've got a wildcard certificate that they're using. So in this case, they could use the same certificate rather than having to purchase or procure anything new.
It could do, but I'm going to guess the experts are going to tell you that's not best practice either.
Oh yes. We're fully aware of that, and we've made that known. But be that as it may, we're in the situation that we're in.
Yeah. My question my original question is going to be around Exchange monitoring, and what, if anyone has any sort of tips. So, you install Exchange, you kind of go, great, it's generally pretty solid, looks after itself, and it is a really good product. From a support angle, we have real difficulty whenever we have new products or, major developments on products, be it a major version, whatever, put in our business, where it's installed, it's working, then they go to transition it into support, and we kind of go, cool, well, how do we monitor this? And it's something that always seems to be left. Now, in the past, you had SCOM management packs, which did a lot of checks, monitored disk space, monitored queues, monitored this, that, and the other, and everything else. Everything that needed to be working appropriately for Exchange to be in a good place. We then changed to managed availability. So instead of SCOM doing the monitoring, managed availability in Exchange is doing the monitoring. And all the SCOM management pack, which is 2013 management pack, all it really does is it just looks at the event logs, generated by managed availability and says, do I need to send an email alert because managed availability has generated this event ID? So the monitoring is all now managed availability, and from what we've seen, it's horrible. You know, we've had multiple production outages where managed availability has not logged any problems. You know, if I go looking for the problems, I find the problems, but from a support perspective, I want monitoring set up to monitor these things for me constantly and tell me before I've got a problem so that I can go and address it. So I guess where I'm going with this is, do we have anything in terms of like a roadmap for managed availability or anything like that? Or any better ideas on tools that can proactively monitor things better? Because I mean, what I find myself doing, which I don't think is right, is going and writing PowerShell scripts or using some of the scripts that are available, sticking them into a scheduled task and saying, run this every now and again and tell me if you find a problem. But I kind of want it the other way around, where it's telling me as soon as there's an issue or as soon as it breaches a threshold, rather than the other way around of me having to write scripts to say, are you okay still? Are you okay still?
Well, try to answer that. I kind of took a shot at that on the chart. So yeah, I mean, there is a big difference between what MOM and SCOM used to do with Exchange 2010 and against the managed availability. Managed availability comes with its own set of monitoring probes and monitors and responders. So it's a different architecture compared to what we used to do with the SCOM, MOM, and Exchange 2010. So with the managed availability, there are some tweakings that you can do with help of, say, overrides, and you can configure the overrides to your likings. You can change the thresholds, but those are the small bit of tweaks that you can do. If you are expecting very extensive sort of monitoring that SCOM or MOM used to do, or if you think there are any missing pieces there, I think it has to be taken via, like, reported as a support case, and engineering team can evaluate that and include that in the future version of the, say, CUs or the next step, the next VNext that is coming up. So yeah, I think that's the best bet at the moment. Nasir, you want to add anything on that?
Yeah, so the SCOM, there is no active work going on actually to creating a management pack for SCOM 22 or like next version. Managed availability is the roadmap that's been used. But I will definitely bring it again with the engineering team to see if there is any for the on-premises for the VNext, if there is any planned work. As far as I know, there is really no new management pack. As you said, 2013 is the last one, which basically does not have some of those things that 2016 and 2019 has in terms of databases and other stuff that is there. So we definitely bring it up to the engineering team. But as far as I know, there's no active work going on developing a new management pack for 2019.
I actually think there was a new management pack, Nasir. I'm trying to find it right now.
There is a new management pack for 2019?
Yeah, I believe there was one. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, if you find it, that will be great.
Yeah, I'll throw it in the I'll throw it in the chat, but it
Okay.
still doesn't doesn't help, right? Because he's asking more about managed availability and within natively, right?
Yeah, right.
Let me see if I can find that. Update.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if there isn't an update for the management pack, because it's changed from the SCOM side of things. It's moved over to managed availability, so the actual monitoring piece is moved into Exchange. I just feel that it needs a lot of work. There is no dashboard that I can look at to go, what overrides have we got set up? If someone comes to me and goes, what's the thresholds for these disk space, I need to be breaking out PowerShell to go and find out. It's just not very easy to manage. It could be a lot better.
Yeah, I think your feedback is very valid. And it's not a good experience. If you're comparing it with MOM and all these pieces that we have in 2010 and earlier. So
yeah, because we're moving forwards,
right?
But the monitoring doesn't seem to be moving forwards at the same rate. And from a if I put my I love Exchange hat on, I love Exchange, it's awesome. With my support cap on, it's not great in terms of knowing and being confident that there are no issues. I find myself responding to things where people, where an end user has reported an issue and I've known nothing about it. And to me, that's a support failure. I want to know about issues before anyone else is aware of anything, so that I can go and add disk space, move a mailbox, do whatever I need to do before anyone notices from a business perspective. That to me is real. That's third line support rather than help desk, and that which is what I do. And it is really important. But yeah, I just don't feel that the monitoring has the same level of importance, if you like.
Now, the advice I would give you is anytime you have such a situation, an outage, please open a ticket for support to investigate, because by the default tuning of our managed availability, we are supposed to detect any issue and take an appropriate action. If that appropriate action does not solve your issue, definitely raise a ticket, because we need to understand why the actions of managed availability didn't restore the service. As far as we know, managed availability is doing a pretty good job. For example, in the cloud, all our servers just use managed availability. And this is with that component that we make sure the service is always available. And so if you face such a situation, please feel free. We want to investigate why the current thresholds have not been able to restore the service quicker than what you would like. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, who's next? Ken. Welcome.
Howdy. Thanks for having me. Question that I have is, we have a hybrid connection with all the mailboxes on-prem. We're just using the hybrid for the hybrid modern authentication. Every day, there is a certificate that expires, the CN MS organization P2P access. And that shows up in the Exchange control panel, and it gets some of my non-Exchange minded admins looking at it and going, oh my God, the certificate's expiring tomorrow. Is there any plans to make Exchange kind of ignore that certificate unless it actually does expire? Or is that just just suck it up, buttercup?
I was going to ask, I assume that server's in Azure, hosted as an Azure VM. Is that correct or no? Or is this a standalone hardware?
No, they're on-prem.
They're on the server itself is? Okay. So I've seen that. Usually what happens is that warning does pop up, but the process does renew the certificate before it actually expires.
Yep, that certificate does
ECP shows it when you log in, or excuse me, EAC, Exchange Admin Center will see it, and you'll see that pop up.
Yep, exactly. It expires kind of on, I believe, on a daily basis.
Yeah,
so
it's 24-hour.
But no plans for that to be able to be shunted.
Let me. We'll kind of take that. I'll take that down and take a look at that again, because I can't remember. I know it's been talked about before, but I don't remember where we ended up with that, Ken, to be quite honest.
I appreciate it.
Unless someone else in the panel knows. I've seen it there, and usually it's an annoyance because it always renews. It's when things don't renew that we get those calls, right?
Exactly. That's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ken. Chris.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you giving us access to ask these questions. The question I had was around the different tools you have available to support issues once you detect there's an issue with an Exchange. You have some good tools like Log Parser, the Exchange Connectivity Tester, Microsoft Sarah, but I find some of them are a little cumbersome to use or don't really give you a good purview into what's actually happening, just kind of gives you some suggestions. Can you talk a little bit about any new tools that might be under development or anything that might be coming available to help streamline some of the troubleshooting sessions we might be getting pulled into?
David Paulson, do you have any updated information? There's quite a bit of scripts actually based on troubleshooting scenarios, like with search and with setup and health checker and things like that. David and team and Lucas has been working on it. Maybe if you have a specific scenario, they can look into it to see if there is anything new that can be added there, or maybe existing tools can be updated from that perspective. But this has been a continuous update on GitHub on the scripts and things like that David and team has been working on.
Yeah, there was actually a session just before this one.
Finished, yeah.
It was called Intro to Support Troubleshooting Troubleshooting Tools. David was the speaker, and when a recording of that comes up, I think that's going to be helpful.
Yep. Yeah, so that's one thing that we're trying to move more towards is scripts, as long as we can do it, stuff like that. So if you have any additional scenarios of things that we should potentially cover, definitely provide that type of feedback. Just because scripts are a lot easier to maintain, quicker to release, and we're not waiting on bits or CUs or anything like that.
David, can you share the feedback alias that we have on that GitHub thing? For people to provide feedback on the tool. Yeah. I think that will be but that's one way for our customers and other people to actually provide feedback and suggest any scenarios that maybe we can look into for future development.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, two more up. We got about 7 minutes to go, so maybe we can get through 2 or 3 more here. Ken.
Whoops, I didn't come out.
There we go. James. Mr. Herr.
Yeah, not so much as a question, but just want to get your thoughts while I have y'all. There are times when building a unified group is way overkill. In many instances, just a simple distribution group or a mail-enabled security group is the best option. However, the drawback, and it's always been a drawback, is that there's no life support on these objects in the cloud. Is there any initiatives to get that done? And if not, do y'all know of a third-party tool that will do it in the cloud? We have one that does it on-prem, but we want to get our distribution list up to the cloud.
Now, when you say life support, do you mind elaborating? Like, what do you mean?
So unified groups have life support on them, right? So after 365 days, they're gonna expire if they do not get renewed. But distribution groups and mail-enabled security groups don't have that in the cloud.
I see.
Right,
Yeah, I am not aware of anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a compliance setting inside of Azure. That's that as far as life cycle. But the renewal of those Microsoft 365 groups, as long as there's usage, I thought that should auto renew, and so you shouldn't. Are you seeing scenarios there, James, where they're not auto renewing and they're expiring out and you're losing them, or are you just wanting to find a slightly different solution?
Right. Well, I want to find a solution for distribution groups and mail-enabled security groups. That's always been a, having to sort through, distribution groups, which ones are still being used, which ones are not, has always been a pain point. So yeah. Okay, I'll take it that there is nothing. that y'all have heard of. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is really more, I mean, I hate to say it, but it is kind of a more of an Azure related question, because it would have to be something that gets integrated into Azure portal or AAD functionality. But yeah, I am not aware of anything like that now.
All right. I don't see any more hands up. Is there, I've been trying to keep an eye on the chat. I feel like we're caught up in the chat. Has anyone put a question in the chat that they have not received a response to yet? Maybe if you want to put it back in there, that'd be great. Or even better, if you want to come off mute and ask, just so we can make sure we can wrap everything up here. That would be awesome.
I can try to answer the last question for Bruce. I know that there are plans to kind of let admins know if something is nearing a block. So we don't have an ETA on those yet, but please look on the EHLO blog and the MDO blog to see on the new announcements that will be coming maybe, I don't know, maybe in a matter of month, when such an announcement is made when something is blocked ahead of time. This will not alert the user. This will alert the admin when a block like that is happening.
Sorry, so did you say that's a roadmap item?
This is something that either on the roadmap right now or will be on the roadmap very soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was just going to follow up. I did put the link to the latest version of the management pack in the chat there. I know the download says it was published in 2020, but it was just updated earlier this summer.
Awesome. Are we all caught up? I think so.
If I can just answer a question from David rather than typing it in. What scripts am I using that flags an issue? I'm currently not connected to email VPN, or I'd find out and tell you, but I do have your email address. So if it's all right with you, I will check which one it is and drop you a message, because it's very useful, because it means you can run it, and if it finds a problem, it'll tell me. But if it doesn't find a problem, it won't.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, if you can just follow up then on that email.
Awesome. All right, I believe we are all set. Unless anybody else has any other questions, I think we will we'll call this one a wrap right on time. Thanks everybody for coming today. We hope you enjoyed today's session, and then enjoy the rest of MEC today and tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon. Maybe we'll see you in person next year. Thank you.
Thank you.